Hey guys, today we're going to be going over the best settings to use in the finals, so let's get right into it. First, you're going to come to the top right here, click on this icon, and hit settings. So, first we're going to start with gameplay. Use enemy team colors. You should definitely keep this on. If you turn this off, it's hard to tell who is on whose team, and that can greatly affect team wiping and targeting certain enemies in order to get team wipes. So make sure you leave this on. Now for hide player names, it's kind of up to you. I like to keep it off because if I turn it on, I don't really know who I'm fighting. So I keep this on off. Region, you can leave this on automatic. Doesn't really matter because if you live in either country, it's probably going to put you in a game that's in your country. For example, I live in North America, so I'm probably only going to get put into North American games. It would not make sense for the game to put me into a European, Asian, Brazilian, or Oceanic game. And for crossplay, you can just leave this on, or you can turn it off. I don't really think it's going to make that big of a difference either way. I don't even know what they mean by crossplay because I don't think this is available on console. So I don't know. I don't think it really matters. Now for crosshair, these are my current crosshair settings. I don't think crosshair makes that big of a difference in this game. It's not really going to affect your performance. But these are my crosshair settings that I'm using right now. Controller, I don't use a controller, so we're just going to skip over this. Mouse and keyboard, we're going to go over this at the very end. So let's jump into accessibility. Colorblind mode, I am not colorblind, so I'm leaving it on default. If you have issues with seeing certain colors, they have plenty of options in here. For subtitles, this is up to you. I like to keep subtitles on. It kind of keeps me more occupied. And I have my subtitle text size set on small, and I think that's the default size. Now, there's this setting called motion blur, which is also available in video. I'm not quite sure why they put it in here, but I have mine set to disabled. If you look around when you have motion blur on, your screen's going to be blurry. And then crosshair is also available in here. It's the same exact one that's as seen in here. So accessibility out of the way, let's move into audio. My audio is set to 30 because I don't really like loud. Kind of overwhelms me. And for music volume, the music in this game is kind of loud, so I would turn it down just a little bit. My sound effects volume I've turned down a little bit, and my dialogue volume is set on 100. For your output mode, if you're using a headset, I would set it to stereo/headphones. So you could use system default, but your default might be set to something else, like a soundbar that you're connected to, and it might do it through there. So I would use this option. Night mode, I have no clue what this really does, but I do know that when you turn it on, it makes your game louder. And I don't like loud, so I'm keeping it off. And for subtitles, we've already seen this setting before. I'm just going to leave this how it is. Voice chat, this is very, very important. Make sure you have voice chat on. Make sure you have voice chat enabled for all. Make sure your mode is on push to talk. If you do open mic, I know some of you guys know the pain of playing with people that play on open mic. You can hear people screaming in the background. You can hear their fire alarm that needs replaced going off. All kinds of stuff. So I keep this on push to talk just to not annoy your teammates. For input device, make sure you select the correct microphone that you're using. For example, I'm using the HyperX Quadcast, but I also have a webcam with a microphone on it, and if I choose this, my microphone's going to sound terrible. So I'm going to use HyperX Quadcast because this is the best mic I have available. Now for your voice chat output device, you just want to set this to your headset. And for example, I'm using my Astros, and the audio output for it is Mixamp Pro Voice, so I set it to Mixamp Pro Voice. Voice chat output volume, this is kind of up to you. I leave it on 100, should be fine. For video, window mode, you want to set to full screen. Resolution, set it to whatever resolution you'd like to play at. Obviously, you don't want to go above your resolution. And I honestly would just match whatever resolution your monitor is. But that's just what I would choose. VSync, make sure this is always disabled. in every single game you play, or else you're gonna have really high input delay. And by high input delay, I'm talking like 20 milliseconds, which some people might not notice, but once you turn it off, you will notice when games do have it on by default. And your screen will also look kind of choppy. Now, this is only applicable to NVIDIA cards, but if you do have an NVIDIA card, set your reflex low latency to on, don't use off. And I do not recommend using on plus boost, because I've seen multiple videos of people stating that on plus boost can actually cause issues and actually add input delay. So I would use just on plus boost. You're not even really going to get that much more performance anyways. Now for the resolution scaling method, I'm going to go over this after we go over the settings here. Now, if you have an NVIDIA card, I would recommend using these settings. If you have an AMD card, I will show you a method I used for finding the settings that worked best for me. But I'll go over that after we go over the settings here. Now, field of view, we're going to go over at the very end, because I feel like a lot of people don't have a very well-rounded understanding of field of view and how different games have different field of view. Scalings. For example, the finals uses a vertical field of view, which is different than other games. And basically what that means is the field of view is kind of like by default higher in this game, which is why I'm using 80, right? So I'll go over that at the very end though if you're still confused about it. You don't have to watch it, but it'll be at the end of this video. Motion blur disabled. I think we've already seen this setting. Lens distortion, I have it turned off. And if you have an RTX card, I would turn this option to static. If you have any other option, it's going to negatively impact your performance. And for your quality, you can just set overall quality level to low. Now let's go on to the mouse and keyboard. I play on 800 DPI and I use a sensitivity of 27, which is pretty low for some people. I would recommend anywhere between like 30 and 50 is probably good. Sensitivity multiplier for zoom, I left it on default, which is 100%. The focal length sensitivity scaling, I left on. Invert vertical input, keep it off. It's just gonna mess you up if you turn it on. For most of my keybinds, I'm using the default keybinds. But the ones I have changed, I use C to sprint because I like using my thumb to sprint. Specialization, Q is default. For ping, I use Z. I used to play Rainbow, and that's the most commonly used keybind for pinging. And pinging is very important in game. If someone's low, you can ping them, and your enemy he might be right next to them and run over to them and shoot them, and then boom, you got a team wipe. Easy. Right, so make sure you have an accessible ping bind. For quick melee, melee is actually pretty good in this game. I'm using my thumb button, mouse 5. If, for example, if you run out of ammo and the guy's like 1 HP, you can run up to him and melee him. Easy kill. For slide, I'm using my thumb button, mouse 4. For inspect weapon, I mean, this is kind of up to you. I use caps lock, it's easy. My emote is B, and my expression keybind is 3. Now for these keybinds, default for weapon is 1. You just leave it as 1. Now for gadget 1, 2, and 3, I would recommend binding all of these to scroll wheel binds. For example, gadget 1 is my middle mouse click, gadget 2 is scroll wheel down, and gadget 3 is scroll wheel up. This keeps them all in one spot that is very easily accessible. You don't have to if you put it on your mouse, you don't have to take your fingers off your movement keys, which I think is a good thing. The only reason I'm using X for gadget 3 is because I have a final mouse, and the scroll wheel on the final mouse, or the scroll wheel encoder, I should say, on the final mouse is not the best. Sometimes I'll scroll down, it'll scroll up. If I scroll up, it'll scroll down. So I have gadget 2 set to scroll down, and I have gadget 3 set to X. Scoreboard, I think default is tab. Push to talk, make this an easily accessible keybind so you can talk to your teammates. And the rest of this is all, I don't think I've ever even touched this. So now let's look at how to find a good resolution scaling method, and I'll explain it once we get into the practice range. And then keep in mind, at the end of this video, I'm going to be explaining the field of view scaling, so you can stick around for that if you want.
I'm June, one of the co-hosts of the show. I've heard a lot of buzz about you among
I'm going
the
to
sponsors.
turn the dialogue volume down just for the sake of this video. Now, as you can see here, I do have use enemy team colors on, and I can see their outlines through this wall. Because these are my teammates, I can see them through the wall. So you see how this outline is very crisp, it's not blurry. It overall looks pretty solid, yeah? Now, if I go into my settings, I'm going to look kind of up here so it's down in the corner. I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to go to video. You can see his outline right there. Now, if I change this, you can see how his outline changes. For example, if I set it on ultra performance, you can see it's very blurry. My FPS, is changing, but I have mine set to DLAA. It gives me the crispest line, and that's why I use it. Now, if you're not using an NVIDIA card and you're using, an AMD card, you might have to use some of these other options. But yeah, I use NVIDIA DLSS and I use DLAA. I don't know if this is the absolute best setting, but it doesn't impact my performance very much, and everything looks generally pretty good. So that's what I use. Now let's go into the field of view. This is where it can get a little confusing, so I'm going to try to go slow so no one gets confused. First, I'm going to boot up Kovacs. And we're booting up Kovacs because it lets you use different FOV scalings. And they've already added the finals into the game, or into Kovacs. So I'm going to go to settings here. And I have my FOV already set on the finals. And I'm using this scenario because it shows, well, you'll see. If I increase my FOV, these will become visible. So like, for example, right, if I crank this up to 140, you can see, like, now I can see this very clearly. Obviously the finals doesn't go to 140, but I think it goes to 100. So I'm gonna turn this back down to 80 because this is what I play on. So just to give you guys more of an understanding, if I switch this to Apex Legends, right, and I use 80, pay attention to where these boxes are, right? If I hit play, it's like way more zoomed in. All right, it's way more zoomed in than the finals. Okay, so, and if I change this to the max FOV on Apex Legends is 110, I'm going to set this to 110, and you can see now it looks like this. Now, if I change this back to the finals, I'm just going to type it in here. If I change this back to the finals, put it on 80, you're going to see it's relatively the same, even though my FOV is way lower than 110. So, for example, if you're copying your FOV that you use on Apex, which is 110, and you're playing this game, well, it's going to be way more zoomed out than it was on the other game you were playing. And it's going to make your sensitivity feel slower, and it's actually going to make the targets a lot smaller. As you can see, these are very small targets. So I would recommend using anywhere between 75, 80, and 85 for your FOV in the finals. That is if you want the best performance out of yourself. If you have it too high, the targets are going to be too small to hit. If you have it too low, you're not really going to be able to see what's going on around you. So anywhere between 75 and 85, I think, are going to be the best options. And that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.